Hello, Blast Protest viewers. We're still at Big Chief. I've still got Mark here. He's yes. He's willing to talk about many things, and obviously, well, you can't mistake what that is. Yes, that's K9. No, it's a Dalek. Obviously, it's a Dalek, and you're doing Daleks.
Yeah, at long last, a lot of discussion about what ones we're going to do. Russell T Davies era, classic era, and we feel the general consensus was everyone wants the classic Dalek. Realistically, the new Daleks are cool, but the classic, and given that the range was kind of going that way with the third and the fourth and the second and fifth in the works and stuff, we thought, yeah, classics all the way. So this particular one, we've got the two Daleks, which you may have seen, some of you viewers may have seen from the little sneak peek that we released. We've got the Supreme Dalek, and we also have the Warrior Dalek. The Warrior Dalek, unfortunately, is on world tour in China at the moment because he went out there for costing purposes. They needed to sort of work out an accurate quotation for us based on the number of parts and everything. So he's out there at the minute. He, she, whatever they are, doesn't matter, gender fluid robots. There you go. So, but this fella here, this lovely Dalek, is very, very highly detailed, as you can see. He's got all the imperfections, we hope, of the originals.
Many.
the wobbliness of it, which is what we want to try to get on it. The individual plates, the mesh underneath, which incidentally, this particular one, the mesh and this colour was too large, but we can get a smaller one out in the audience. So we do know that the mesh and this is just a wee bit, the aperture's a little bit too open. The weave, I don't know what you call it in mesh. The weave will do when it'll work. So there we go. So he's obviously got his weapon, which is completely rotatable and movable as well. His laser gun, and he has his extending plunger. What do they call that? What's the name of that?
This face, we all call it the plunger.
Everyone calls it the plunger.
And the egg whisk.
And the egg whisk, yeah. And this particular one is a little bit tougher, but the actual one will be more of a PVC soft. You can actually feel it. It is a softer thing. But
I'm trying to think of a small one where it had extending arm. I don't remember anything bigger than quarter scale having an extending arm.
Did the remote control ones have one? I know that was the Russell T Davies Dalek, but did they have the extending weapon? Or, it's the I can't remember the name of it. I looked at this when I was doing K9. I saw a blueprint of someone. It's like a manipulator, isn't it?
Yeah, go manipulator. So, I should know this, but
these ones as well. They obviously are going to have the batteries inside, and what's going to happen is this particular section here will rotate, obviously, as well. This at the moment all sort of rotates. So because of just a prototype version of it, the lights will light up and blink as well. So those will work, and it's got sort of ball bearing type wheels, which may end up being sort of plastic ball type things on the actual production pieces when we do those. But yeah, very, very accurate in terms of the scale and the size compared to one of the Doctor the Human figures, or Gallifreyan Time Lords. So yeah, it's lots of detail, lots and lots of detail. But people have been waiting for a long time. Incidentally, we're not going to be doing the talking Dalek because we haven't done that with K9, and we kind of feel it's more of a toyetic thing. That's not really us. It's not, because if you're displaying it, there's some things going on at the moment where we're saying about we'd like to almost put like a motion sensor in the eye, so as you walk past it, the lights will blink type thing, which you thought might be quite cool. Don't know 100% yet how that's going to work. We're sort of looking at that and what might work or what might do. Either way, we'd like to have it sort of remote controlled so that you can literally push the button and his lights will blink. So you haven't got to keep opening up the cabinet and constantly fiddling with the lights. We'd much rather that. There's a lot of manufacturers out there that put lights and stuff into their figures and they don't really implement the electronics in a more usable way. So we want to kind of do it that way. And the same really with K9 if we can do that as well. So there's a very simple remote that we can operate, that customers can operate and switch him on, switch him off, which is how we'd like to do it.
The funny thing that I've got at the moment with this is it's a strange sensation. It takes you back to when you had that, was it Dennis Fisher Palitoy one?
Yeah, the original.
Because of the classic design, you just want to reach for the little button on the top. It's not there. But yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's as I say, we've got the first two are obviously going to be the Supreme and also the Warrior Daleks, and there'll be some pricing information coming up soon for that, because we're going to have some pack options where you could buy the two, the Supreme and a Warrior, and also a 3-pack option, and there are going to be special discount options and what have you as well that are going to be coming available with these. So, but more details on that to come.
Yeah. I must say, I like the way the light's catching all the bumps on the skirt, because they're all showing their shape. It's just giving it life. It's quite.
Yeah, it'll be a really nice piece.
Yeah.
When it is eventually obviously going into the production, which it won't be too long from now, but obviously it's quite a complex piece. Lots of assembly parts on it. We'll have all these panels being individually applied as well.
Yeah, Daletanium.
Daletanium, yeah.
And the fact that you can do this with it, pan sideways.
Yeah. You still won't be able to rotate in a corridor, by the way, because the corridors were never shaped the right size. They can only go one way or the other. So if you want to get away from a Dalek, just run the other way back past him, and that's it. You can't do a thing.
I know, the Dalek doorway is always reminded me of the launch pad of Thunderbird 1.
Yes.
The shape that the rocket went through only. Yeah. Right, so you've just seen the Dalek. It's over there now. And previously, on Blast Process, and courtesy of Mark at Big Chief, we had looked at the definitive Tom Baker, which is what this is. Now, this was a kind of a celebration of 10 years of Big Chief Studios doing definitive editions now. And you think, well, you're done, Tom. That's basically the world can end now. But no, there's more Doctors. And there's more Doctors. And Mark here is going to show us what's coming next.
Well, we revealed a little while back now on Facebook that we were working on, in celebration of the sort of 10th anniversary year of us having the license as well and forming the company in the first instance, of the new era Doctors. So starting with 9, 10, 11 and 12. And we've been working for quite a lot of time on costumes, accessories, of which there are various bits and bobs here, and also obviously completely new sculpts. And much like the Tom 4th Doctor figure, the idea is with these that they're all going to have the interchangeable sculpts, the heads, 2 expressions, but they're also going to have the moving eyes as well. So beginning with the 9th Doctor, we've got our various expressions where we've got the more wry smile, and you'll hear that a number of times from me. So we've got a sort of more wry smile here, and we've got the more serious version there as well, which we've got some more detailed shots of that a bit later. 10th Doctor, again the wry smile head on him. We can go into some detail on the costume shortly as well, and then we also have the other head down here, which again there's some more pictures of. 11th Doctor wearing his Series 5 costume, which is a completely new costume. We've never done the Series 5, we did Series 6 and we did Series 7B version of the 11th Doctor, so this is a completely new version of the Doctor. And we have a new version of the 12th Doctor as well, where a lot of people have cried out for him with when he's got the big bushy hair and of course the more velvet jacket that he wore. So just going back to the 9th Doctor, the costume on him, and I have to be careful because these are the prototype ones at the moment, but this jacket is real leather as well. So in difference and contrast to the original version that we did, because obviously his costume's quite simple. So you've got to kind of give that value perception to it and say, okay, well, what can we do? These guys come with a lot of layered, detailed costumes. He doesn't really wear a huge amount, so what do we do? So obviously he's got the individual jerseys that he wears, the green one and the black one, and he also has the sort of burgundy red one that he's wearing here as well, along with his black trousers, all new boots that he's wearing as well. And obviously you can see he doesn't come with a bit of tape on his head. That's just holding the hairpiece on, because that's how you'll actually access the back panel for where you'll be able to just manipulate the eyes.
Yeah, forgetting about the action eyes feature.
Yeah. So rather than it sort of, it was a very difficult one, because rather than doing the split here along the hairline, which would have been very, very noticeable because he's got such short hair, we didn't want it to, to sort of jar and make it look really, really odd. So, and of course they're going to all come with the newer base, lots of additional accessories as well, and the new packaging for him, which we haven't revealed, and these guys will share a similar kind of packaging as well. So it'd be different, totally different to what we've had in the past. So that's all I'll say on it for the minute, but it's going to be really nice. So the 10th Doctor, I'm sure 10th Doctor's fans will look, the first thing is that the colour of the trench coat is finally where we wanted it all to be, because that was the one glaring thing that everyone said, it's the wrong colour, and we wanted it to be the more correct colour. Obviously it has all the normal details inside, the working pockets as ever, the vented things at the back as well, with all the buttons and plenty of detail.
Well, yes, most people display figures looking from the front, but then when you turned it round, I saw the vent to the back of the coat and the legs protruding behind it.
Yeah.
That just, it's just as iconic as the front view.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. When they do a lot of publicity shots, of course, they all strike their kind of trademark poses, don't they, as the Doctor? And particularly these guys, if you like, have been in a way a bit more energetic, I suppose, and dynamic in a lot of the poses, because of course it's just how things are photographed now for licensing purposes. But yeah, so there's a whole new costume, completely retailored version of the costume, and and of course you can have him just in the suit if you want, or with or without the trench coat, however you want to actually pose him. And obviously these heads at the moment are purely the prototype versions of the heads, so they've not been painted yet. And those are all got to go off for approval. The likenesses are approved on everyone except for just waiting on final sign off on the Matt Smith figure. So please note that there may or may not be some little changes on him, but right now I believe we hopefully should be good. So I mean, we're really, really pleased with the Matt Smith. That's my favourite head. I think that one. I mean, we have this one as well, where he's got, there we go again, the wry smile. But I like that one. I like that sort of more quizzical look, because that to me is how Matt portrayed the Doctor. And like I say, this is the completely new version of the costume with his geography teacher elbow pads. And it's got more of the tweed effect. I've just got to watch his head there. And believe me, the pattern on this jacket, and he's got the braces on as well, but the jacket, trying to achieve that pattern was a nightmare, because it's more of an indication, it's sort of, because it's so small, and so tight the pattern on it, that to have it,
it's the impression of it.
Exactly, because if you do it and enlarge it, it looks wrong, it just doesn't look right at all.
We had a big conversation in the past about clothing and trying to make it so it drapes correctly, and the difficulty of trying to achieve 1/6 cloth,
because they don't make it. Cloth is cloth. It's what's made for clothes for us generally. They're not made for little versions of us, is it?
Yeah. That's what I'm quite impressed with. Like, they got a leather jacket for £9.
The leather jacket is really nice, and it's not overly thick as well. When you feel it yourself, it's really, really nice. Yeah. Now, obviously, that goes from there to China, and then they have to source a leather that is like that. The same sort of thing. So. But they will get a leather that it may even be very fractionally thinner than that. They might be able to do it, so which gives it even more, manoeuvrability. So it's quite cool.
That's the one tragedy. You can't actually wear this yourself.
It would be fully functional. If you were only that big, you'd have no problem. Yeah. So on to the 12th Doctor. So our new version, the one version that a lot of collectors have been after for a while, where he's got the more bushy hair and like fuller hair. And his lovely velvet coat, which again has the wiring, so that if you want to create a bit of flair to the shape of it, you can do, and have him posed like quite dynamically. His open cuffs as he wore, and even down to the detail. I don't know if you can pick that up there, but on the collar, the lapels of his collar, or the edges of his collar, they're not lapels, sorry, the edges of his collar are sort of roughed up.
Or frayed.
A little bit frayed. That's the word. That's definitely the word. The word of the day, frayed. Yeah. So, but yeah, he is, and the waistcoat, I think it's the waistcoat. Yeah, it's got the waistcoat, not the cardigan this time. The belt as well that he wears. So he's really, really nice.
I'm getting strange vibes now, because I'm looking at it. It's weird when you see a well-posed six figure that looks like that, because it looks like a person.
It's always the tiny tweaks. If any of you guys have watched the sideshow How to Be a Poser videos, they're great. They're really, really good. You can recommend those highly for people who collect these things, because he shows you, the guy that does that is very good, and he shows you just how you can just put a tiny tweak on a hand and just like that, and it changes everything. Like from there to there, or even like that. It's crazy, but it works great. He is going to also come with his midlife crisis weapon, so he'll be able to.
It comes with an axe.
To use that. It comes with an axe as well, and he's got his glasses, of course, his sonic sunglasses that he'll have, and his big staff as well, so he can march around with his very large stick. So it'll obviously be it will do it in two halves, but it'll be in one piece when you get it.
So you missed out the jammy dodger from before.
Oh, I did. Yeah, apologies there. Yes. So yes, the jammy dodger is actually other biscuits are available. The jammy biscuit. Yeah, the jammy biscuit that he has. Although they say jammy dodger in the show, don't they? I think.
Yes, I think they do.
I think they do. I'm sure he says jammy dodger. Calls it that in the show. Actually, there was the 10th Doctor's. The machine that goes.
The timey-wimey thing.
The timey-wimey, yeah. So lots of detail.
So if you've got the Weeping Angel,
absolutely,
they go together.
So again, lots of detail in that. You can take as close-ups of that as you want.
Provide your own exploding chickens, remember, aren't we?
And yeah, absolutely. And of course, then you've got the and jokes are plenty here with his armless. So that's the autumn arm that the 9th Doctor will come with as well. So it's actually been designed that you can put it around a figure's neck, which is quite nice.
Oh,
as
that's
well.
smart.
So you can have that around your Rose figure's neck if you want. So yeah, but and of course he comes with the two.
Which reminds me of the
So there's other things that they're going to come with, and other bits. Some bits that you may have seen before, like the water pistol, the Sonics, and things like that. But there are other accessories as well that are yet to appear here. But,
right. So that's a smattering of what's actually be in the box then?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, these we're showing them now because we want people to see some progress on them. So, because it has been a while. I mean, they take a while to get through approval, and like I say, we're still waiting on Matt. So please do note that might tweak very slightly, but the other characters are approved, and we're just waiting on the obviously getting the head paints and what have you, and then they'll go through for further approval as well. So on the head paints, and then there'll be packaging revealed a bit later on as well. So there's a number of things that are going to go through, but that's why we said originally this pack was going to be first, and then we got the obviously the Dalek ahead of that. Just so you know, because I obviously just referred to it as a pack. They will be available individually. So we know that certain people are going to just have their particular Doctor. Some people like the 9th, some people prefer the 11th, some people prefer the 12th, whatever. That's totally up to you. But we are going to be doing them as a special pack release, and it's going to be limited to 500 pieces of the plaque itself. And the reason we're doing that is because it's going to include something that's really quite cool. So a number of you, I'm sure, have pre-ordered this little fella, and I'm sure we all know.
I would say affirmative, Master.
Absolutely, yeah. So I've purchased him, and obviously he's in the works at the moment as well. So we're getting towards production. So, but what we're actually going to be doing is there's going to be special discount incentives for buying the pack, all four of them together, and also if you purchase the pack, and the only way you're going to get it, this particular item, is by buying the pack. You can't get it with buying one figure or two figures. It's got to be the pack of the four. You're going to get a completely exclusive, included within the price, free battle damaged K9, weather-worn K9. Now this particular fella's very weather-worn because he hasn't got his little ears on at the moment, but literally this version, which will actually be in the metallic blue, not in the metallic silver as it's seen here, the version that obviously the 10th Doctor encounters when he meets Sarah Jane again.
It's Skill Reunion.
That's it. So, and again his panel pops off and he's all nice and rusty inside and what have you. So, is that the rusty one? That one is actually, is it? So, but yeah, there's going to be, and I'm never going to get that. And Greg will shout at me. So I'll leave it like that and hope you can follow. But yeah, so again, the same sort of things where his nose will obviously his laser cannon will pop out, the lights up, his ears will twizzle around, the lights on his back panel, and the back panel on this one is actually slightly different, as well as the colour obviously being in the metallic blue rather than the silver. So the back light panel is actually different to the back panel on the standard issue. So this is exclusive. There's only going to be 500 pieces of this. 500 packs, and we know full well, we appreciate now that a lot of people, they get very upset with delays and what have you, and that's understandable. It really is. And we know now that a lot of these figures now are taking anything to 18 months plus 2 years to get through production, and that's after all the approvals process and the initial pre-order. They're taking sort of 18 months to manufacture. It's a long time. It is a long time. So we're going to be offering this as an 18-month plan. There might be some out there, some people that want to pay it off in full. That's completely up to them if they want to do that. But it'll be an 18-month plan that we're going to be offering, so that it allows people to pay, because obviously this is a big expense. It's 4 figures. So, but it's going to be a lot more sort of manageable, we think, for people when they see what they're going to be able to get. And they're essentially going to get 5 figures. And one that's completely exclusive. You will not be able to buy that, and we won't be making that available individually later on. It literally will be 500 pieces of the K9, and that's it. So it's not something that we're going to break down and sell individually. It'll be what it'll be with these sets. So that's something that's going to be coming a bit later. Dalek first, and then these 4 will be coming, a little bit later in the year, and everything will be made clear in the coming weeks. So that people can start seeing, okay, great, I know where I've got to set money aside for, I know what I want to do, I'm going to go with that. So
finalise the details.
Finalise all the details, absolutely, and put as much information that people need, to handle all that kind of stuff. So, and we got to sort out the things like that, making sure that everyone's aware of things, because obviously new complications now with shipping and no VAT now to Europe, where previously we charged VAT to Europe because that's how we have to do it. Now it's different. So things like that. And
yeah, we're all in it together.
We're all Well, that one that's it's beyond any of our control. That one, no one can do anything about that. So there you go.
Well, that's far more than I was expecting today. When you invited me down, I knew that the 3rd was in production, the 13th in production.
Well, they're finished.
They're finished.
They're on the way.
Yes, they're on a ship somewhere.
Yeah.
They must be on a ship somewhere.
Literally, yeah.
But seeing these, I knew they were on their way because you had revealed the plan. But actually to see them, it's...
Yeah, I mean, so we've been working on them for some time. Obviously, when you're trying to coordinate all 4 together, the BBC having to work with their approvals guys, they're trying to sort of get the approval from the various talent, and so it's a lot of things. One thing delays all of it, and that's how it can be. So it's gone on a little bit perhaps further than where we would like to have ended up. We would like to have perhaps had them out already by now, sort of thing, in terms of pre-order. But that's why we pushed the Dalek head, brought that head in the schedule, whereas originally it was going to be after these. But it sort of makes sense now. While we've still got some tweaking and mods to work on with these guys. Whereas with the Dalek, we're quite well ahead with that one in terms of the factory what they're doing in terms of the what they're going to manufacture and the various bits, and how to actually simplify, not on the outside but on the inside, the bits that we don't see to make the thing. So because it's one absolutely, it's one thing us making something. A lot of you can make brilliant models, but then translating that into something that's workable for a production process. And the various things that have to happen. So it's something completely different.
And it didn't reassure that this is part of the same range as the 4.
Absolutely, the definitive edition. So they come with 2 expressions, 2 heads, with the moving eyes, very, very detailed, obviously, costumes, and new additions on the costumes, things like the leather jacket, the velvet jacket on 12. So there are little things that we're trying to do to kind of denote that specialness. And where we can, we always like to do something different. It's kind of hard with 9 because we only had one season of 9, so there's nothing we can do. But so we thought, okay, how we can add that value and give it that point of difference? 2 heads, and the leather jacket, and it's the genuine leather jacket, and improvements as well, because like everything, things get better all the time. I mean, part of the thing is with doing any of these is finding that factory that can really work with and understand, you know. And we've had our trials and tribulations along the way, and things that haven't gone, you know, to 100% of where we want them to be. So, you know, you kind of try and improve, and I think people will see when they get a third, and when they get 13, I think they'll see the differences, because they are lovely. They are really, really nice